So don't say anything you wouldn't want everybody to hear. We're recording it.
Okay, well, everyone knows this, but my name is Sandy Noel. I'm with the State Health Office, and I'm the statewide planning coordinator and serve as one of the liaisons for any HIV epidemic in Florida. On my list, the way in order that I see it, next will be Avril. If you can unmute yourself and not only state your name, but also which county you represent. Okay, Avril, I don't think your sound is working. So next I see Brittany.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Okay, now I hear you, Avril.
Oh, yes. I just got into the meeting. I'm so sorry. I have trouble accessing. So thank you so much. And then Kira is also joining. But I have her on a speaker, okay?
Okay.
And what department are you from?
What county?
Oh, this is Miami-Dade County.
Okie dokie.
Brittany?
Hi, good afternoon. Brittany McClure. I am the Patient Care Contract Manager in Area 9 West Palm Beach.
Okay.
Charles?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Charles Baldwin. I am the EHE coordinator for Palm Beach County.
Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Chris Walker, and I am with Pinellas County.
Efren? Jim?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jim Roth, the HIV/AIDS Program Coordinator for Area 6, Hillsborough County.
And I think Kira is with Avril. Or Kira, are you
Yes,
able
that
to?
is correct, Sandy. Yes,
Okay.
she is with me, okay?
Yeah, so Kira is representing for Miami-Dade County as well.
Okay.
I'll follow up. So Lindsay, are you able to unmute? Lindsay or Efren? Nevertheless, Lindsay and Efren, they represent Duval County.
Okay.
Renea?
Hi, good morning. Renea Mills from Broward County.
Okay.
Thank you. Quaisha?
Hi, everyone. My name is Quaisha Cowan, and I'm the HIV Prevention Planner with Broward County.
Thank you, Quaisha. Rob?
Good morning. My name is Rob Scott. I'm the HIV/AIDS Program Coordinator in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
We have another individual that will be coming in. We have Tara Williams. She logged in, but I know she's going to try to log back in. She is the HIV/AIDS Program Coordinator for Orange County. And
good afternoon, everyone. This is Sarah for the Department of Health, Orange County HIV/AIDS Program Coordinator.
Thank you.
Okay.
And after messages, lastly, we have Joshua Rodriguez. Josh, you want to restate your name and where you're calling from? Joshua is calling us from Broward County.
Okay.
All that we have right now for the call.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can move forward. Thank you so much. I'm going to mute myself. Thank you,
Sandy,
Fred.
we've got a few people who apparently have not dialed into the phone number, so I just sent a message to Lindsay to dial in.
Okay. Now, is it the same number, the same phone number?
Yeah, same phone number on the invite.
Okay. So I'll also message that to her.
A friend says he's dialed in.
Okay.
Okay, Lindsay can hear us now.
Okay, perfect.
And let me get Efren here. Okay, yeah, it looks like Efren is dialed in as well.
Okay.
Efren, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Awesome, great.
Well, we're all very excited to have you on, and Sandy, if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yes, please do, and thank you so much in advance.
Okay, you bet. Well, first of all, you know, just to highlight, we have a mascot here. We started with this horse years ago. Performing without a plan is like putting the cart before the horse, and he has morphed into this victorious driller of the 2020, getting the COVID out of the way, and we're breaking ground here. It seems like 2021 has taken quite a long time to rear its head. So we all know that you guys are exhausted for all boots on the ground, and we had a lot of time because we're strictly with public health, and what we did is we updated the dashboard in many different ways, and we'll show you all the highlights. But the first thing is, tell you the background. We've been with public health for about 20 years, and the system was developed for and with public health. It's a cloud-based system that works around the Deming cycle, PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, and adjust. By the way, the Florida Department of Health, the HIV division, has been with us for about 3 years. The system is an operational planning and execution system. So we're not just monitoring and tracking. You can actually write your plans into the system and watch it progress as you go along, making it absolutely operational. It's designated by FAB as fully demonstrated. As we were developing in Maricopa County Public Health Department, 2011 came around. FAB came and visited the site and said we were fully demonstrated, and we've been that way ever since. A lot of Florida departments use us for their accreditation. And the system, and one reason why we're able to get to multiple departments into the dashboard is because it has the ability to engage all levels of the department, all levels of the grouping, the division, office, program, down to the people who are doing the activities, including external partners, and that's pretty much where you guys come in. And we define performance management in just 3 simple steps. And the first one is creating a good operational plan, a plan that is done by a specific group of people, specific time frame with specific metrics, and specific activities. The very next step is after we get into the plan, we're writing it. Now we want to execute it. Now we want to keep track of it. So we're not just keeping track on a macro level, which the macro is, how are we doing overall on this particular program or in the department or in the division, but we want to be able to monitor it on the micro level, which is the activity level. That way we're able to catch things way before they start going awry, because you'll be able to check your dashboards on a day-to-day basis to see if anything is slowing up, how you're doing. That's when we get into that check phase of the PDCA cycle. You're able to catch the things that you need to catch in time so you can make those adjustments and then go back into the plan. You'll see we have all different types of ways to monitor the system, but to structure the system, we kind of have you visualize a pyramid. And this pyramid is built into your dashboard, but you'll see here in just a moment when I get done with my 10,000 words, it's laying on its side, but it scrolls through the same grouping. So the first top of that pyramid is the organization, and that would be your division, HIV division. The next group is probably right now, we have set it up as all the different counties. Each of the counties. Now, underneath each group, you'll have your set of services and initiatives, what you would like to do in the future. And underneath the services and initiatives, you're going to have the goals for each service, the objectives for each service, and the activities. And I think that's about it. Now, with the system, you know, we are trying to focus on this area of the HIV division. So just know that Fred has set up a lot of different things, but when we take you live into the system, we're speaking about a whole department that is using it, and then he'll show you the specific things that you can do for your division. So,
my turn.
That was your, and we have put slides in there to ask Fred questions because he does go very, very fast, and breathing is overrated for him. So please feel free, any of you guys, to stop and ask questions. Go ahead.
My turn. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to go live into the system and walk through those three phases that Andrea talked about. We're going to develop an operational plan. We're going to monitor it through its life cycle, and then we're actually going to take the PDCA cycle and make adjustments to that plan so you can kind of see all the tools that are involved in there. So we've got this little demo organization we call USA Public Health, and I'm going to take you live over here now to the system. So we're going to walk through towards the end of this program how to log in, how to set your password, all the information that you'll need, and then how to go through and actually make these adjustments in the plan. But first, we're going to walk you through a scenario so you can kind of understand what the system does. So when you log in, you're going to be logged into your specific group, and in your case, it'll be the county that you belong to. You log in and you'll go directly there, so you don't have to fumble around trying to find it. It's going to take you right there. So for instance, down here at the bottom, we have what we call this cookie crumb, so you can always kind of tell where you are in the system. So I'm in Community Health Division. When I logged in, I'm in Community Health, and that's where you're going to see these tabs up at the top here is our navigation. The pyramid you just saw, if you flip it on its left side, like Andrea mentioned, you got the organization, the groups, service initiatives, goals, objectives, and activities. So we have the entire pyramid, if you will, kind of laying on its left side. So we're going to navigate down the pyramid here. We're going to go to our groups tab. So I'm in Community Health Division, so it takes me to Community Health. Now, if you've been given permissions to other things in the system, you can go in and look at the strategic plan or anything else just by clicking on it and looking at the actual plan itself. But we're going to stay in Community Health for now. Now I'm going to navigate down to the services that are provided by Community Health, and you'll see the 6 different services here. We're going to talk today about the Safe Kids program, and we're going to develop a quick little operational plan to manage the car seat program within the Safe Kids program, because it's pretty easy to follow that logic as we're going through it here. So under the Safe Kids program, whatever I've selected here is going to filter the tabs to the right to that specific, in this case, to that service or Safe Kids. So the goals are going to be the goals specifically for Safe Kids. And you see we have 4 of them. We're going to talk today about promote and provide child passenger safety education and resources to partners in the community at large. Now, as we go down the pyramid, you're going to notice we're going to get more and more specific. So number 1, we're going to have this traffic light sitting out here. And a traffic light is just a nice, easy visual way to determine how are we doing. So if it's a green light, that typically just means things are moving along as expected. If it's a yellow light, that means that something may have kind of gotten in the way, slowed us down, like this thing called COVID, you know, that happened to us last year. So maybe you're going to put things on the back burner a little bit. So you might mark it as yellow. And then when you do that, you probably go down and put a note or a comment in here that just says, hey, based on this thing that we've just discovered called COVID, It may take us away from doing this for a while, so we're going to revisit this maybe in another month or two, something along that line. When you get to a red light, that means that, hey, that did happen. So maybe, when you got deep into COVID. Yes.
Fred, do you mind
Yes.
making the screen a little bit bigger?
I'm at full screen here. I'm sorry. Can you maximize your browser on your end?
Yes, sorry, you are right. Okay, I just wanted to share a comment. Sorry
Okay.
for you making
Thank you. Okay. So again, when you get to red, that means, the bad thing did happen. This COVID thing came about. We're going to have to put this on hold for, the foreseeable future. And again, mark it red, put a note down here as to what we're doing so that you can go in and, share that with anybody else who looks at this and says, oh, I see why they put this on hold. It's because of this thing called COVID or whatever. You can cycle through the lights here. You can either click on the light, cycle through the 4 lights, or you can use the little drop down here to set it. But very simply, setting that is a key element in here. Now, underneath this particular goal, we're going to have a set of objectives. Objectives are what we call SMART. So they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based or time-bound, depending on your particular definition. So as an example, we have by November 30th, we're going to distribute 20 car seats per week to families through these various programs. So if you think about that, that's a very, very finite target that we've just set. Now, the other thing we're going to do at this point is we're going to assign somebody to get us to that point here. And I can assign anybody in the department if I choose to. In this case, we've assigned Diane Cox. Diane is what we call the objective lead, which in this case is a program manager, project manager. And Diane's job is to get us to that particular target. Now, what we've done again is we've set a target. Now, here's one of the things that is unfortunate in a lot of the plans that we see coming from health departments, specifically the strategic plans, is they get down to this level. And it says, this is the target we're going to set. The thing that they typically don't do is get down to what we call the activity level, which is the operational portion of the plan. It says, how are we going to do that? This is the what. We're going to go down to the how, and that's the activity level. So the activities are basically a set of steps that you're going to walk through to get you to that target of 20 car seats a week. Pardon me. We'll go ahead and walk through these activities. So number one, funding. In order to afford 20 good car seats a week, you're going to have somebody helping you to fund this. So we're going to go straight to the Safe Kids program and ask them to fund our car seat program. Every activity has got a performance metric or a target. It just says, how do I know when I've successfully completed the activity? So as you're going through an activity and it's really not clear to you, you can go look at the target. It says, oh, I see. When I get the funding for this, I will have completed the activity. Activities also have a beginning date and ending date. So what you're doing is just setting a time frame that says we're going to complete this funding cycle within this time frame here. And the other thing you have is the measurement. So we have multiple types of activities. The most common one that you're seeing here is a project-based activity, and it's measured just by percent complete. Probably 85% of what's in the system are going to be project-based activities. In your case, it may vary, but a lot of times it's just going to be, let's say we have half of the funding. We might mark that as 50%, saying we're halfway there. When we get to the complete funding cycle, mark it as 100%. When we mark it as 100%, we're going to see this fourth traffic light, and that is the gold bar. The gold bar indicates successful completion, meaning we've completed that portion of the plan in there. Now, the other thing that we have at this point in time is the ability to assign a team of people to complete this activity. So in this case, you can see the lead and team activity team leaders and team members. I do that by clicking on this guy. And right now I've got the people within Community Health Division showing here, but I want to look at the whole department. So I just click the little red X here. It says, okay, now I'm seeing the whole department. On the left here, you'll see these 3 columns. These are what I can choose. So number one, I've chosen 4 people to be the team to do this. I've got a single person as the team lead. Now you can have single or multiple team leads, your choice. And I've got an email flag. This email flag is going to end up being you guys, and it's going to say for this particular activity, Diane Cox is going to get an email on a regular basis, and you guys will determine what that is, on a regular basis to update this particular activity. And it makes it a very simple process because all you have to do is click on the link in the email, takes you right back into what we call the quick update system, which we'll talk in detail later. And you'll be able to actually update the information in the system very, very quickly here. So these are the three flags that we're going to be able to set. Again, you can have multiple email notifications too, so you can have multiple people doing the updates. Over here on the right, if you choose that you want to be able to track the human investment in this particular activity, you can put in an FTE or full-time equivalent value over here, between 0 and 1. And what you're going to do is say, in this case, Diane and Mara each have indicated a 0.1 FTE, or about 4 hours a week each, to complete this particular activity during the time frame that we've done. And what we do with that, very simply, is just roll it up the pyramid. So at any level on the plan, you can look and say how much investment we have in human time, if you will. So we go down here and we look and see we have a Diane and Mara at a 0.1 and 0.1, rolling up to a 0.2 at the activity level. If I take all of these activities under the objective and roll them up to the objective, down here you'll see we have a 0.6 FTE, which rolls up all of those activities to the objective, saying we have a 0.6 FTE to accomplish basically the car seat program. So it gives you the ability to do things like a cost-benefit analysis and such, and it is purely optional, something you can choose to do. And I mentioned we have multiple types of activities. So if I do the drop down here, you can see we have the second most common activity is a quantitative measurement activity, and I think you guys will see a lot of those. And basically the difference is, instead of a percent done, you got a quantity in here. So how many of this, or how many car seats did you install, something along that line. So you're going to set a target, let's say 20 car seats, and you're going to put in the number each week of how many you've done. What it's going to do for you is calculate the percent done that you are. So if you got a target of 20 and you put in 20, obviously you're 100% done. Got a target of 20, put in 10, it's going to calculate 50%. So it's just an easier way to track some things other than have to manually calculate the percent done. So that's a big difference in the QM activity. The QA, or quality assurance activity, is unique, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, is unique in that, number one, it's not a beginning date and ending date, but it's a beginning date and a frequency. So it's a repetitive activity. So in this case, where we're doing car seats weekly, we might want to have something that automatically moves the dates ahead by a week every time we enter information, so to make it easier to do. It also has another unique feature in that it, and other types of activities, the traffic lights are manually set based on a lot of other information that you would bring to the party here. You're going to say, yeah, this is a green, we're on track, or no, this is yellow, I'm going to put a note in there as to why this is yellow. But in the QA activity, you set targets. So I can say my green target is 20 car seats a week. My red target is 10 car seats a week. Anything in between will be yellow, and I'll show you that in a minute here. So those are the three types of activities that you can choose from the system, and they seem to cover the gamut pretty well for all the years we've been out there with this. So that's our first activity is funding. Our second activity then is we got this great program, but we don't have time to manage it. You know, public health has got other more important things to do than install car seats. So we're going to hire an external partner to do that. Down here at the bottom, we have that external partner database attached. Click on here, and we can say, okay, I've got Andrea's car seat installation and Andrea Schoen set as our external partner here. So Andrea now is going to be able to, because we're going to make Andrea also a system user, she's going to be able to be the person to get that email and do the update in there. So maybe she'll get the email on a weekly basis that says how many car seats did you install, she'll be able to update it. So in this case, you guys are going to end up being partners to the state HIV program, as well as users in the system to be able to do the updates here. So now we have funding, we have somebody to manage the program. Now we got this great car seat program that nobody knows about. So we're going to figure out how to get the word out. That's probably going to be to go to our PIO office and have them, develop some stuff to get the word out to those particular neighborhoods that would fit that financial demographic. The less than a certain income range, obviously have kids and want to protect their kids with good car seats here. So we'll go to the PIO office and have them get the word out to those neighborhoods so people will know that they can go to Andrea. Andrea will qualify them and install their car seats. Then we're going to go down to kind of a bottom line activity, which is Andrea's car seats will install 20 car seats a week. So what we just did in the last 5 minutes is created a good, solid operational plan for the car seat program that we can monitor and correct as we move forward. If I go back to the pyramid here, we'll walk it through. So remember, it was under Community Health Division. The Safe Kids program was the service. The goal is to provide car seats to those that can't afford them. That SMART objective is by November 30th, 20 car seats a week to families through these programs. And then the activities, again, are the operational portion. What exactly are we going to do to meet that objective here? We're going to find funding, hire an installation partner, create awareness, and actually install the car seats. So that's the operational planning process right there. It's a very simple process. And by the way, this planning model that you see is a public health standard planning model that's been out for, the 20 years that I've been in public health anyhow. Now, let's take this plan that we just developed and walk it through that PDCA cycle. So what you just saw was the P part, the planning part. We've got a good solid plan in place. Let's go ahead and put the plan into motion. So we're going to start executing the plan here. We're going to get our funding taken care of. We're going to get Andrea on board as a partner. And we're going to get our PIO office to get the word out so that people will know to come to Andrea and we can start installing the car seats. In the background, what we're going to do is set up this thing called real-time planning. That's that email notification flag we talked about. So let's say in this case, Andrea gets an email from the system every week, let's say Monday morning. And the email says basically, how many car seats did you install last week? There's a link in the email that she'll click on. It'll take her right back into the what we call the quick update system. And by the way, as of COVID time, we've made all these nice changes. And one of those was to add a VMSG mobile version. So now instead of having to be at your computer, you can do it on your phone. So if you just log in on your phone, it'll automatically take you to a browser-based app, which means you don't have to install anything on your phone. It'll take you right into there. You can put in 21 car seats, hit save, and you're done. Grand total of about 1 minute of Andrea's time every week. So let's say we're going through this and 10 or 12 weeks goes by. Somebody comes up and says, hey, Sandy, how's that car seat program working out? Well, to tell them, we're just going to go into the check phase, go back to the activities here. So for this particular activity, to be able to check how we've been doing, I can just click on this little chart here and voila, here we are. So what you're looking at, this is that quality assurance activity we were talking about, the repetitive activity that has the automatic traffic light setting based on the targets here. So what you're looking at on the blue line are the data points that Andrea's been entering for us every week. The green line is that target number we set of 20 car seats. The red line we call a fallback or a safety zone, and that just says, if I drop below this line, I know something's gone wrong, I need to be notified. So that's why we set that traffic light for you. So if I'm below red, it's going to be setting the traffic light to red automatically. If I'm in between, it's going to set it to yellow. If I'm above here, it's going to automatically set it to green. So just by looking at the traffic light, I can tell kind of where we are. Now, looking at the history here itself, it says it took about 4 to 5 weeks to ramp up to our target number of about 20. Yep. And we're kicking right along about 20, 21 car seats a week. So exactly what we thought would happen. Now, back to the PDCA cycle. So that was the check phase. Look at the chart, see how we're doing. We're good. Go to the adjust phase. Some people call this act. We like to call it adjust because there's actually the ability to now go in and make corrections to several things. Based on the chart you just saw, everything looks like it's working great. Probably no adjustment necessary in this case. So we're going to go back. We're not going to change the plan any. We're going to continue to execute. Every once in a while, we'll go back in and hit that chart, take a look at it, see if we're still above 20, or even just look at the traffic light. If it's green, we know we're above 20. We'll continue through this cycle. Now I'm going to go back and shift things up a little bit here. I'm going to pick this activity now. And what we're looking at, number one, is we have a yellow light out here instead of a green light. So what that tells us is we're sitting in between the red and the green line, right? Let's go look at that. Well, sure enough, we ramped up here, got up to about 15, and then capped off. So the ramp up time was about the same, 4 to 5 weeks, but instead of getting up to 20, we got up to about 15. So we have one more piece of information that we didn't have before, and that is we're not making our target number. What we don't know at this point is why. So that's kind of the key element here. So let's go back and figure that out. We just walk through the activities, find out our funding here, gold bar says successfully completed. Activity partner, gold bar says we got that completed. We've got Andrea on board down here at ACSI. PIO office is going to do our marketing for us. Well, we got a yellow light. This is where the notes field comes in handy. I'm going to go down here and take a look. It says may not be reaching the proper demographic, or the plan is just set too high. So one of two things kind of happened here. Either we're not getting to the people who can qualify for the program, or we just overestimated. Now think about building a plan. You're going to take a plan like this at the beginning of fiscal year. Maybe it's something you've never done before. And you're going to go out and say, okay, well, based on what we know about the neighborhoods and the specific geography, we think we can maybe do 20 car seats a week. And that's typically how plans are built. At this point in time, we don't know that we made the right estimation. So what we're probably going to do at this point in time is realize that, number one, our issue is in our marketing. So why don't we take that chart, let's walk over our PIO office and sit down with them and say, hey, we all got together and built this plan, decided 20 car seats was a good number here. What do you think? We're only getting to 15. So maybe the first answer we get from the PIO is, well, let me tell you what we've been doing. we've gone out and put up, see this poster you see on the wall? It's a beautiful poster, says you can get free car seats. We put that up in all the shopping centers in those neighborhoods. We've gone out through the Nextdoor app, social media for neighborhoods, and we put up some advertising out there so people know, and gone to the local newspapers, put up some advertising there so people will know. So overall, I think we've done a really good job of getting the word out. I think we're getting to everybody. Do you think that maybe we just overestimated the target number? So in this case, the adjustment is going to be to the plan itself. So think about what you just did. You created a plan, let's say at the beginning of the fiscal year. You had assumed it was going to be 20 car seats going forward. A lot of times, because everything else going on in your world, you're going to come back at the end of the fiscal year, look at the plan and say, how'd we do? Well, in this case, you were off from day one probably. So what you're doing is monitoring a plan that is really not accurate. In this case, the plan becomes dynamic, meaning that you can adjust the plan based on real information you're collecting, in this case from Andrea, in real time, in this case weekly. So you're able to take that information and, if necessary, make a correction to the plan. So in this case, let's take the plan from 20 down to 15, continue on through the cycle. So we've adjusted the plan, continue to execute, go back on a regular basis. Let's say we choose monthly. We'll go back and take a look at it, see where we are. If we're still at 15, we know we probably did the right thing. Now let's step back a little bit. Going to the PIO office, obviously with what's been going on in the last year, and talk to them, and they say, yeah, you guys came to us about a year ago. Obviously, we all know that this thing called COVID came through here and kind of decimated our resources here. So we haven't been able to really do the job we thought we could. Good news is we recently hired a new guy. His name is Bill. Bill's kind of an expert in this area, so we turned him loose. Kind of the bad news is he's only been doing it for a week. So we need to give Bill more time to get this wrapped up. So now we're not going to be adjusting the plan necessarily. We're going to adjust the resources to get to the plan. So in this case, we're going to put Bill in there, going to give Bill some more time, a resource, and get him ramped up to the plan. And then there's a fourth scenario, which is probably the most common, and that is that, maybe we're a little off on the plan. So maybe the plan should be 17 instead of 20. And we know we need more resources based on what happened with COVID to get there. So let's put Bill in there, give Bill a bit more time. Let's go ahead and bring in an outside contractor to help Bill to ramp up to that particular number there. So those are the four scenarios within the PDCA cycle. You determine what the cycle is. It's probably going to vary for each type of plan. You're going to go in and check it, once a month, once a week, whatever you decide, and be able to make those adjustments in real time. So you're working everything instead of static is now dynamic moving forward here. So this is one of those slides that Andrea made me put in here. Any questions? Okay. Every time that happens and I don't get any questions, I assume I'm doing a great job here, so I'm going to continue to move forward. Okay. Performance monitoring at the macro level here. This, in your case, will probably be the dashboard for your particular county department here. So let's go ahead and take a look live at the dashboard here. Okay, dashboards are dynamic by group. So in your case, in fact, let me just kind of show you what the groups look like for you guys here. So you're going to have a group basically for each county down in here. So you'll be able to go to the county group here and then select the dashboard for that group. Now, obviously, there's no data under here right now, so we'll go back to our little USA Public Health group and Community Health Division. So what I'm going to do is select the group that I'm interested in, and I'm going to look at the little traffic light up here in the top right corner. It's going to take it about 10 seconds to calculate everything that you need for the status of that particular group, but you'll be able to do this for your county, your group, and it's going to look something like this. Up in the top left corner, you've got the traffic light itself here, which is showing you the number of either activities or objectives or goals at each status. So the green, the yellow, the red, and the gold. Now you'll also notice that I get the little click finger when I roll over it, meaning I can drill down on anything on the screen and get right to the data. So I don't have to go searching. I can click on these yellow ones and find out exactly what's behind there. The other thing you have is a schedule gauge showing you that based on that beginning date, ending date, and percent complete, it's calculating how we're doing against our finite timeline that we've developed here. So it says we're about 7 days behind schedule, so it's yellow. If you're on schedule or above, it's green. If you get, I think it's 60 days behind schedule, then it turns red in here. So it just gives you a good visual indication. Now, as you want to drill down a little bit further, you're probably each going to have specific people involved in updating this information and keeping it up to date down here. So they'll show up down here, the people in your particular department who are doing that. So you're going to have, in this case, we have Diane. This tells me that Diane was in within the last 30 days because it's green. If it were yellow, it'd be 30 to 60 days. If it were red like this, it's over 60 days. But it just allows me to know that how real time is my data. FTE, remember that FTE column we had on the activity screen over there? We can go in and look at how each person is loaded. So ideally, you want to keep everybody below a 1.0 FTE so you don't get burnt out, that sort of thing. So we got Diane at 1.25. Again, I can click and look at all of our activities, maybe reset some of them to somebody else so that, we get her down to that 1.0 FTE. The lagging column just says, these are the things that are behind schedule, calculated by beginning date, ending date, % complete. Days is the same basically as the schedule gauge up here for the individual person. So this person is Diane's 117 days behind schedule, which, by the way, based on COVID, we're seeing a lot of that. Overdue says that the ending date has come and gone, and we're not yet 100% complete. And by the way, these are all color coded, so you can tell how far. And then the number of red, yellow, green, and gold activities. So if you look across one row, you get a great snapshot of how that person is performing against their plan in here. You can also look at groups and priorities. Groups is the same as that group screen that we saw up there. So you look at each plan and each plan, division, office, program, everything down this column, and you'll see the same information here. Priorities are the strategic priorities for your group or the department or whatever you want to have in there. So you can say, how are we doing against our priority around partnering or whatever that happens to be. So it gives you the status of everything you're doing, because typically your strategic plan is the kind of the gospel that you're looking to move towards here. So that's the status summary down here. If there are specific objectives that you want to keep your eye on, and maybe they're reds and yellows and you got people working on them, you just want to see that they're moving forward, you can put those up here, and basically on the objective screen, there's a little flag you click, put it right up there, and then you can look and see how they're moving. When this flag changes to a green, you'll see it on the screen. It'll flip over to a green. You can go in and say, hey, I'm going to take that off there now because I've got it back on track. So it's just things that are specific to you. It's attached to your login, so you're the only ones who will see yours. So that's the dashboard screen. This is that macro level. And again, it's going to be dynamic based on the group that you're assigned to or the group that you select to look at here. As I mentioned, we have developed a mobile version of the app. And what you'll see down here, because obviously there's so much on that screen, you can't put it on one phone screen. So we broke it into 3 screens. So top left corner is here. The bottom of the dashboard is down here, the activity leader summary. And then the My Priorities is here. And just these blue arrows navigate back and forth. So if you just log in on your phone, it'll take you automatically. It's built into the browser, so you're not having to go to the App Store and load an app or anything like that. It'll load up for you automatically and show you these screens. So you can look at your dashboard for your performance at any point in time. Document management. I don't know if you guys will be using this a lot. This was originally built for the accreditation process. For those people who are going through accreditation, they're collecting up somewhere between 300 and 1,000 documents to submit up into the EFAB system. So this just allows you to attach documents to anything you want. You attach them to an activity or an objective or a goal or a person or anything you want to attach them to. You can attach documents, and they just get stored on our server so that you know exactly where they are, and you get the chance to give them more definition. It'll do version control for you, lots of different things. But there's a whole bunch of online training around this, or if you decide you want to dig into this more, we're happy to do more training on that. Lots and lots of reports. Now, let's see, I actually generated a couple of reports for you here. The operational plan is the most common type of report. So the operational plan for, I just picked Broward County because they're at the top of the list here. So the operational plan report for Broward County would look like this. So it's the group up here, the service objective activity, one diagnosed by 2025, the objective, the activities down here, and you can see the status, you can see the people who are assigned, you can see everything you want to know but we're afraid to ask. So this is the really detailed version of the performance monitoring piece here. It gives you every piece of detail that you want to have in there. Okay, VMSG Public. This is the ability to very simply create a public-facing web page to show status. And again, I created one. And again, this information is really not updated because we haven't got this thing rolled out fully yet. But what I did is created a version here. So what we did is for each of the groups up here, so we got Broward County, Duval, et cetera, down here, and then it shows you the red, yellow, green light status. So you can see the number is 40 green lights and it's 15 gold and yellow and red. And then that traffic light up here. So it's just like the top left corner of the dashboard, except obviously it's instead of a traffic light, it's a pie chart here. But you can go down and see everything in here, and you can build any of these that you want. You can get down to much more detail over time, so you can have a chart that looks like, let's see if I go back here, you can have an activity summary chart that would look like this is the number of car seats that we saw. So it's the same chart that you saw on there. So you can look at that. But what it does is makes a simple graphical representation of the status of any portion of the plan. So that if you want to share this with senior management, you can just grab this web link, put it in email, send it to them. You can put it up on your public website. You can put it on social media. So you can grab the URL, put it up on social media, and people can take a look at it. So it just gives you the way to very simply. By the way, it takes maybe 5 minutes. I did that this morning. It took me like 2 or 3 minutes to be able to build that whole chart for you. So it's very simple to do, but it makes it very nice to share it without having a lot of detail like the operational plan. Questions at this point? We have 2 more little sections to go through here, and we'll show you about the login and everything else in a minute here. Any questions?
Do you like it so far?
Say yes, I love it. Okay.
I don't see any questions in the chat. A few people are muted. So if you have any questions so far, you may unmute yourself.
And also, you can always, email us individually if you had a question as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't think of the questions until after it's all over.
Right.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on here. Okay. 3-dimensional planning. This is the ability to put a big overlay across all the plans. Now, this is something we'll work with Sandy on because we can categorize all of the different plans at all the different county levels against the set of standards so that we can go in and say, how are we doing overall against this particular standard? Things like the essentials of public health and such. So for instance, so this might be the plans that you have in the system here. And let's say we want to say, how are we doing against public health essential number 1? So what we're going to do is go in and tag the pieces of the plans that are related to, in this case, public health essential number 1. Now, in the accreditation world, obviously, you're going to say, how are we doing against FAB standard 6.1? Same thing. You're going to be able to go in and tag every plan in there that relates to 6.1. So you can go back and look and say, across everything in the entire system, these are the pieces that are related to 6.1. The strategic priorities from your strategic plan we were talking about, that's how we get those. You go in and tag the pieces of the plans related, in this case, to our strategic priority of partnering. So we can go in there and say, everything we're doing here is related to partnering in one way or another. So we can go back and see how we're doing. And those documents we talked about where you can have thousands of documents in there, you might want to go back in and tag those against specific things like, for instance, the FAB standards. So in this case, these would be the 3 documents that we'd be submitting for standard 4.2. So what it is, again, is just a big overlay. It's a 3rd dimension to all of your planning. We talked about it. We won't go into much for this particular presentation, but there's a complete accreditation, reaccreditation plan built into there. It allows you to, for the Florida departments that are all integrated, to be able to actually use the state version. There's a state, local, and tribal version of the plan. So they'll be able to use the state version of the plan to actually follow the state's accreditation process and submit the documentation, that sort of thing. With that plan, there's a virtual mock site visit tool that allows people to come in remotely and basically grade you before you turn in your documents and stuff into FAB for your final accreditation. So just a nice set of tools for the accreditation folks. Training, help, and information. I want everybody to just kind of understand that there's a lot of help built into the system here. Pardon me again. Let's say I'm on my services screen here. and I want to say, gosh, what are these buttons down here? What am I supposed to do with all this stuff? What I can do is just go up to the little blue eye. That's my first step always. If I'm on the services page, I go to the blue eye, boom, it takes me down to editing, managing services initiatives. First thing over here it shows me is, you know, every button, every field, everything on here, it defines it for me. So it's a kind of a short form version of it. If I go down here, I also have a training video that is very detailed about adding and managing services. Down here, I have the full user guide, which is a hyperlinked PDF file. You open it up and you can click on anything in the table of contents and go right to that area. But it's just everything that's in there. A lot of people like to print it off and put it on their desktop as they're using it. A lot of people like to just dock it on their screen so that they can open it when they want to, but that's in there. And then we have what we call implementation guidelines, which is kind of best practices that people across the nation have contributed, you know, how they use the dashboard, the nice, cool things they do. There's actually some forms in there to help you to develop operational plans, different things along that line. So lots of different tools, but that's kind of your first pass. If you have any questions, is to click on the eye from where you're at, where you have the question, and it'll take you right to the specific area that you're looking for. And then if it doesn't answer your question, you pick up the phone and you call us, and we'll definitely get your questions answered for you. Okay, so this is my last question slide. We're going to go into one more topic area, and that is what we call the real-time planning. And we're going to talk about how to log in, how to change your password, and how to use the quick update screen. So any questions before we go into that? Okay, away we go. Intelligent real-time planning. This is a tool. Remember the email notification flag at the activity screen? Well, if you are assigned as an activity lead or an objective lead, the system is going to automatically notify you on a regular basis that you guys determine to be able to update your information. And you guys are all going to be seeing these emails here. So here's what happens. Let's say we set it, and by the way, most typically is monthly. You guys can do it anywhere you want, anywhere from from daily to monthly is the cycle that you can set up. And you can put it any day of the week, multiple days of the week, multiple days of the month, whatever you want. But let's say we do it the first Monday of every month. So that's very typical. So what's going to happen on that first Monday at 1 a.m., system's going to go in, and it's going to look at every one of you as a user, and it's going to ask 3 questions. Number 1, have you been in the last 30 days and updated your stuff? Number 2, do you have anything that is currently behind schedule? Number 3, do you have anything that is currently overdue, meaning past the ending date? If any of those is true, out go the emails. The emails go out to both internal folks as well as external partners. In that email is a link, and I'll show you this email in a second, that you go right back in, and it takes you right into what we call the quick update screen. Now, the quick update screen only has 3 fields to update. I'll show it to you in a second here. There's a lot of context around it, the group, service, goal, objective, activity, that kind of thing, but you're only going to update 3 things. You're going to update the traffic lights, you're going to update the notes field, and the value, the % done or something along that line. It's going to walk you through all the activities that you've been assigned, all the objectives you've been assigned, and then you log out. And just to give you a reference point, across all there's several hundred departments across the nation using the system, and across all of them, this averages somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes per person per month. So we're not asking much for you to go in and update the information on a regular basis here. And this is what the email will look like when it comes out to you. So remember those 3 topics I talked about. Here's why I got the email: 30 days, lagging, and overdue. And it's going to show you exactly why. It's also going to kind of give you a little status. So for all the activities you've been assigned, here's the red, yellow, green, and gold status. We will have people assigned from Sandy's group here probably to be the administrators, and they'll show up on your email saying, if you have any questions, contact one of these people. So you have their name, their email address, and their phone number. And then to get back into the system for that quick update, you just click on this link here, login.vmsgdashboard.com, and it's going to take you right into the system. So I'm going to actually go through that process with you now. Okay, so when I click on that link, when you log out, it takes you to the VMSG web page here, but you can always go back, already a VMSG user, log in here. So this is that link I was just showing you in the email. If I click on that, it's going to take me to my login page here. Now, at this point, none of you have a user profile in the system, so it won't work for you at this point until we get the designated people set up in the system here. But the first thing you're going to want to do, and this, by the way, I see a couple of people who don't quite understand this feature here, but let me walk you through it. The send button says, send me my user credentials. So I'm going to hit the send button. It's going to ask for my email address. I'll put in my email address and I'll hit send again. So what it just did, it says success, meaning it found my user ID, found my password or my login, everything. So it sent me the email. Now let's go back and look at that email. It's going to look like this. It's very, very simple. Fred, here's your login information, your user ID, and your password. So you notice the password is kind of a cryptic string of characters and things like that, which you probably don't want to try to remember. So what you're going to do is from here, you click OK. Now, you're going to go back and click the login button or go back and click on that link, the login.vmsgdashboard.com. Either one, take it in. Click login. The next thing you're going to do is actually put in your user ID or your email address. So if you don't want to remember a new user ID, you can use your email. It's perfectly fine. You're going to put in that password in here, and then don't hit the send button again. I've seen people do this a couple of times. They'll hit the send, they'll put the email in, and they'll keep going through that cycle and can't figure out why they don't log in. The next thing you're going to do is hit the blue button, the login button over here. So I'm going to log in. Now, if you have been assigned as an objective or an activity lead, you're going to get this dialog. It just says, do you want to go to the quick update screen, the main menu, or just cancel out? So for now, let's go ahead. We've been to the main menu a lot. So let's go to the quick update screen. So it takes it a second to calculate everything in there. And this is the quick update screen. So it looks complicated, but it is absolutely not. And here's why. Everything up at the top is just context. So it's the pyramid, the group, the service, the goal, the objective. Down here, we have the activity that we're going to be updating here. But down here is the only thing we can update. The traffic light, I just click on it to cycle through. The actual value, whether it's a numeric value or percent complete or whatever, and a note. And when I'm done with that, now there's a couple of different options on here as well. So before we dig more into this, I want you to understand how to change your password because you're not going to want to keep the password that's in there. So this little key button up here will take you to, like every other website in the world, put in your current password, which you can copy and paste out of that email, by the way. Put in whatever new password you want, verify the new password, hit update, and you're all set there. So on this screen, we have a couple of different options. First of all, mostly you're just going to be changing maybe the traffic light, put a note, maybe changing the value, and hit the next button down here to save it, move to your next one. A couple of different options on here. Number one, this is the document management we were talking about up here. It says we have 3 documents attached to this activity. So I go click on that, and you can see we have these 3 documents attached. I can add new documents down here. I can delete documents. I can edit the metadata, if you will, for the documents. So I can, the description, the notes, the document expiration date, all that kind of stuff I can do in there if you want to use that. Hit the little arrow to go back. The other thing down here that we've added fairly recently is this ability to set a data source. So let's say you're looking at maybe number of COVID vaccinations, and there's a CDC webpage that you want to be able to reference. So what you can do is click on this, and it's going to say, this is my CDC vaccination reference webpage here. You can put the actual link in here, the webpage link, so that all you have to do is go down and click on this little link right here, and it'll pop open a new browser window with that website on it. So you can go grab those numbers, maybe even copy them and paste them into here. So it just allows you to very simply understand where your data is coming from. So you guys may have, websites or anything like that, or you can just put a description in here and say, go to the shared drive and put a link in there to the shared drive is where you're keeping data or something along that line. So those are the buttons that you'll use. Now on the activity screen, I'm just going to cycle through here. Now, because this is that quality assurance activity, this is where it asks me to set a new starting date. So if it's a weekly one like we did with the car seat, I can go in and say, let's say it's Monday morning, first thing. I can go in and say set the current date, or I can select a specific date. Maybe I'm updating it on a Friday and I want the date to start on Monday. I can do that. Or I just don't even need to update the cycle date. I'll just say, put it on my current date here. So it's going ahead and updating that date for me. So up here it says activity number 2 of 6. So that was 1 of 6. This is 2 of 6. I can cycle through my activities either with this arrow up here or just going through the save button down here. And you'll see 3 of 6, 4 of 6. And again, remember, you're just entering this data down here typically. 5 of 6, 6 of 6. Now, when I'm done with my activities, it's going to say you also have some objectives that you've been assigned. So let's go to the objective screen. It's going to be very, very similar to this, except now I'm updating information up here. So I got my objective percent complete or number of projects or whatever it happens to be, the traffic light I can cycle through, and my notes field up here. If I want to go back to those activities that are attached to that objective, they're down here. So I can click on those and go to the activities, quick update screen. Again, I have my document management up here that I can use, my data source down here that I can use as well. And then I'm going to cycle through my objectives. It says I have 11 objectives up here. Once I'm done with that, then I can just go ahead and log out, and I'm all set here. Let's see what else. Again, on the mobile version, you can do, so there's 2 basic quick update screens. There's the activity quick update and the objective quick update. Again, instead of going into your desktop, let's say you're out at a vaccination site and you got a little dead time here and you want to update your system, you can go right in on your phone. It'll bring up these 2 screens for you. Look like the activity and your notes, your traffic light, your data value, save button, and just touching those. When you're done, it's going to take you to your objective quick update screen, do the same thing, update those. So it just makes it real simple to keep everything up to date, as simple as we possibly can. And that is that for the day. What questions can I answer?
Hi, this is Chris Walker. I'm curious to know how soon we can get this recording.
The recording?
Yes.
I will put it up on YouTube today, and I'll send you guys a link to it.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Now, I know that Sandy is going to get all the names together. We're going to get you guys set up in the system. She will send you out an email that says, go through these steps to log in. This basically what we just went through here, but in writing so that you can understand, make it simple to log into the system. So you'll get all that information. The other thing that I wanted to show you on the help screen that I forgot to, anyhow, let me go back to help here. What we just did today was this introduction to the VMSG dashboard. So that's the training that we went through today. There are 3 other training modules that if you really want to get deep into the system, right here, the VMSG basics, operational plan development, and then performance monitoring. So there's a lot of good training. It's a grand total of about, let's say, probably 2 hours and 15 minutes to go through these 3 modules because we already went through you don't need to go through the intro. It's exactly what we just went through today. So go through these modules if you want to get more detailed on it. But like I mentioned, I will also send you the recording from today's session here.
Are there any other questions? Like Fred mentioned, next week I will follow up with you all so that I can get clarification on which 2 individuals you would like to designate as users per county on VMSG. Once you identify those users, and you can feel free to email me today, but definitely next week I will follow up with you all. So that way they will make sure the individuals are made users, and then you'll have the chance to go through the VMSG system on your own to get a better understanding of how it works. And thankfully, Reggie and I have already embedded your respective EHE plans into the VMSG system. So you'll more than likely, once you have access to the system, you'll be already reviewing your plans. And updates will be made once you all provide your updates to your personal work plans.
Sandy, thanks again for organizing all this.
No, thank you, Fred, for being available. And we will have another session on Monday.
Yeah, and if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. If you need more in-depth training and you'd like to see more of the functionality of the system that you might want to use in your department, please reach out to us. We're happy to do that.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Andrea. And
You
thank you,
betcha.
everyone.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.